What's going on, guys? SeeJay here, making another video. Today I wanted to do something with what I believe is like the top 10 plug and play characters for Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth. So this list, I kind of talked to a few different people to come up with what I think is a solid top 10. And I think the list that I'm going to share is pretty solid overall for any player in the game, but it's actually pretty free to play friendly as well. When I put the list together, I didn't really consider that. I wanted to look at just the top 10 that are great plug and play characters that doesn't require huge team synergies in order to work. But surprisingly, when I looked it through the list and tried to figure out like where they sort of clump together on where you find them in the game, it ended up being all but one you can currently farm. So that's pretty exciting to know that these characters are great and anyone has really access to them if you're kind of getting closer to like that mid to end game of like your account, right? So in no specific order, these are the 10 that I kind of came up with, and I'll sort of give like a little bit of feedback in each one. Now, I'm not going to go through like the full builds and glyphs and all that. Like maybe in a future video, we can make something that goes a little bit more of a deeper dive into, oh, this Rivendell character, like what does a Rivendell team look like and which glyphs should we pick and what are the most important abilities? And if that's something you guys want to see, I'd certainly be happy to make a video. But for this one, it's going to be just a little bit more like high level, like, hey, I'm new to the game and I need to think about what characters I need to invest into and maybe not make some early game mistakes on characters that maybe you're going after that aren't necessarily kind of your best bang for your buck. So for the first character that I have on my list, I'm going to start with Gimli. So Gimli is an awesome character. He's a great tank. He has, I think, the highest armor pool in the game, and he has a ton of boons that he can apply to his character. Now, I don't have him built out. I do him at 5-star, and he is a guild campaign farm, so pretty much a free character to get to 7-star if you really wanted to go after him pretty early on your account. He wasn't. He obviously has been recently added with Legolas and such when they moved off like Marquee, but this character, again, just great plug and play tank. Can kind of fit into a lot of different comps. I wouldn't say he's necessarily like a huge sort of like your core team 5 character on a lot of raids, but I think that as the fellowship kind of comes together, maybe if you start unlocking Gandalf next year as more and more people get access to him, he's definitely a character that I think is worth investing into because he's very strong and he's a guild node. So like he doesn't really require a lot of resource to go after, but again, he's got some really great just damage and then some provoke stacks, defensive regenerations, and of course he's got retaliate. So just like a lot of cool abilities that makes him a pretty good tank to flex into a lot of different teams. Kind of going along with the fellowship, I would say another great character on my list is going to be Legolas. So Legolas is an elf, has really good speed, and is an absolute beast of a single target hitter. He does have his leadership ability, which not a lot of people are using, but you know, he does offer one. And then again, like I said, just insane amount of damage. Everything he does is just amplifying his damage and his crit damage and his crit chance. So this built out with some really strong glyphs. This guy's hitting. Great single target DPS. So another one that you can easily go after. He's just an arena shop character. So all it takes is just playing a little bit of arena and using your resources into him. I already have him at 5-star, almost 6. So been kind of going after him the last couple months since he's moved over to that. Again, an easy farm, not even using any of your kind of like your daily energy spend because he's using that secondary resource. Now I know like Eomer's in there, so of course that's somebody else you might want to farm. So is in Golbers. Jesus, Golbers, because I'm trying to go after our buddy Thorn, but anyways, Legolas is another one on there. The third one that I have on this list, everyone's going to have access to. He's a character that you're going to get when you start playing the game, is Strider. So Strider, every day you do your dailies, you get 5 shards. Free to get to 7-star. Doesn't cost anything besides literally playing the game. And he's got some pretty good abilities, and he's got the leadership for the Road to Rivendell team, so certainly worth having, especially free to play. Road to Rivendell is a great squad. But he's got that burn effect with Burn the Shadows. That's an awesome ability. It does a lot of damage, burns very strong. But he also has, of course, his AoE, and any characters that have AoE is just good, right? Like a lot of the raids, you want AoE in chapter 1 and chapter 3. You want AoE in arena. So he just has a lot to offer. And again, he doesn't really require a lot of resources because he's a character that you just play the game and you're getting your daily 5 shards for him. So easy plug and play character, easy character to invest into. The next one, in my opinion, is like a soup. Like, people know he's good, but Lord Balin, recently moving over into a very easy 60 energy cost farm is Lord Balin, right? So he fell off the marquee recently, and this guy he's honestly, you know, he's listed here as like the number 4 one I'm listing, but he's easily a top 5 character. He's so good. Rumil and Orphan, those that trifecta right there, Balin's expedition, super strong squad. And Rumil and Orphan should be early next year, so early into January, we should be seeing these characters available to be farmed. I'm hoping they're farmable on like light or dark side campaign, and not another, you know, one of those tougher ones that just take a little bit more effort to get through, like Tabeb and such. But assuming they do end up like on a guild node or a or like one of like the light or dark star campaign chapters, that's going to be amazing, especially if it's like a 60 cost energy and not an 80, like just to really farm them fast. When they came out, I think one of the first characters that I actually put any money into this game for the $20 packs to 4-star. I don't know if it's worth it because like at 4-star, you're not really using those characters, but they were just exciting when they came out. I thought they were going to be really strong and I kind of wanted to play with them. And then I realized that I'm not going to pay to get them to 5-star, and, you know, so they just sort of collecting dust, but I'm excited for when they do come out. But again, if you're looking at Lord Balin, I mean, he just has a great leader ability. His turn meter, especially with Rumil and Orphan, and then the just amount of boons and banes that he's applying and removing is just great. Like, this guy, any character that can impact turn meter, especially granting 100% turn meter to Rumil and Orphan, is just such a strong ability to have in any of these types of games. So next on the list, so the 5th character I have here is actually going to be another just most commonly known character that a lot of people recommend farming early on in the game, is Ironhide. He has 2 AoEs. He's very, very tanky. He does a ton of damage, and he offers a lot, especially for your free-to-play arena teams or your early on arena teams. I can get him to 7-star. I want him to be at 7-star because he's one of my arena characters, but I'm a little bit short on gold, and I'm really trying to build up my Rivendell and Haradrim team, as I mentioned in a previous video. So unfortunately, I think I have to kind of keep him at 6 for some time and not really take advantage of that power spike. But this character is just super strong. Having that big AoE, just kind of being that large character, right? Like the troll, really strong character. And again, he's a guild node farm, so more or less free, right? Like, you can generally get a character on the guild node from 0 to 7 stars in like a month-ish or so with not even refreshing. So really, this character being in that first chapter of the guild node, once you hit that 1-7 in the guild node chapter, most people are generally farming him like probably in your first day or first couple days of creating an account, and you might as well just go all the way to 7 stars with him because he's going to be someone that you're definitely going to use. Another character I have on here is going to be our buddy Naremiri. So Naremiri is probably one of the best healers in the game, and she's super plug and play, whether it's with the elves or really any other squad. Rohan, it doesn't matter. She's just great. Like, she has, I think, probably the best healing game, if not under just a little bit of Pippin, but they're probably really close. And she just, you know, she doesn't really do like a whole lot of else. I mean, she does obviously have a Bane cleanse, which is amazing to have for any character on your team as a support, and the protection is nice, but her heals are just great. Like, she literally can heal your team for some serious health. So she's a fantastic plug and play healer. She really can fit onto any squad with no problems whatsoever. And again, she's another guild farm. So a lot of the characters I've just mentioned are mostly guild farms or free characters. The only one I think that I've mentioned on my list so far out of these 6 was Lord Balin, who has moved to the 60 energy light 2-7. Everybody else is either kind of like a supply shop character or guild node. So a lot of these characters, most people are going to have access to relatively early onto your accounts, and they're going to be very good for the long haul to kind of put time into. This is going to be the first character, and we kind of mentioned him a little bit with Lord Balin, but the first character that we're going to kind of run over who actually isn't going to be somebody that you can farm today, but he should be farmable within the next, I would assume, 2 to 3 weeks. So Rumil, however you say it, absolute defensive beast. When you put him with Lord Balin and Orphan, that comp, those three together are just, they're great. They're awesome characters. I'm super excited to be able to play with Rumil and Orphan. Like I said, as you can see, he's 4-star. Like I scooped him up when he was released as a marquee, and I wanted to use him, but I just didn't want to invest to the 5th star, and it just didn't happen. But this character, I mean, he's just awesome. Like, he's got good damage for a tank. He's got great defensives. He's got a Bane cleanse. He just has a lot to offer, and working well with like dwarfs and elves, which is great, right? Because like he can kind of play with the elf squad in some kind of pseudo comp that might work well. He can also just play on the dwarf side, and now with like Thorin and company and such, like you just have a lot of places that this character can plug and play into. So he's definitely one that I wanted to put on my list, because although he's not farmable today, he's going to be farmable very soon. And I think he's worth kind of mentioning because, if you're kind of getting into the game or trying to figure out like who you want to invest into next, I think he's one that is definitely worth considering. So now we're going into our top 3. So my first one here that I'm going to put on the list is going to be Eomer. So Eomer is the second, I believe, hardest hitting DPS character in the game. And he is one of only a few that actually has like a summon as well, right? So not only does he put himself on the field, but when he summons his character alongside him, you're getting that 6th person, especially in arena. He's just so good in arena. He's got very, very strong single target damage, but really the thing that I like about him is his turn meter manipulation. Again, any character that can do turn meter is so strong in these types of games, but the fact that he has a summon and he can do assist always if you have Eowyn, which a lot of the times when you're running Rohan, you're running the 3, right? Eothane, Eowyn, and Eomer. It's great. Like he is such a strong character in this game. Anyone will tell you that he's worth investing into. He's probably easily a top 5 character. And again, he's an easy one because he's an arena shop. So he's someone that, what I was doing for a long time was Legolas and Eomer, because I would get enough currency in a day to be able to get the 2 5 shards on them. And then once the Thorin release came out a couple of weeks back, I stopped farming Eomer for now. I want to get Legolas to 7-star because I want to have him as one of my 7-star elves for Lord Elrond's return at some point next year in order to get Elrond to 7 stars. But I also been working on the goblins, because of course the goblins, you need at least 5-star in order to get Thorin. So like, I don't really want to be investing in the goblins because I'm not really using that team. I would love to get Eomer to 7-star and actually ding him at 7-star. But this guy is an absolute beast. Like, you need to make sure you're investing into this character. And then the last 2 are probably no surprise for a lot of people. It's going to be both Rivendell characters easily. They are just such a strong squad. They're top 3 in every chapter of the raid. We'll start with our buddy Elladan. Any really, honestly, Rivendell character, maybe not Lomian, but the other 4, so Arwen, Elrohir, Elladan, and Elrond, they all could be a top 5 character, honestly. They're not all on my list here because I didn't want to just fill it all with Rivendell. But Elladan is probably, or definitely, the best tank in the game. He just has so much power and so much synergy with Elrond. His ancient skill, in my opinion, is just insane, right? So not only is it an AoE, not only does it have provoke, but if you get it to the 6-star ability, you get the +1 stamina per boon. And with Elrond applying boons and then also doing a lot of manipulation, those 2 characters synergize like probably the best in the game. So if you can get this to 6-star, which I really want to, but again, gold is just hurting on me. This just makes him go to like the next level. Like right now, my Elladan is like good because, it's Elladan. He's kind of built out a little bit, but this will go from like good to like S, right? Like absolute S tier tank. So, absolutely, weaken, provoke, deadly for your characters. Like those are all good things, but ancient skill is just so good with the provoke stacks and then the additional stamina. And then last but not least, no one's surprised, Lord Elrond, best character in the game, hands down. He's got just insane kit, right? Mine's not even built out that much. In this squad that you're looking at, which is sitting at around what 25-ish thousand power, so nothing even to really be too excited about. We'll still do 600,000-700,000 in most chapters on difficulty 3. Obviously 900k is really my goal, and we're slowly getting there as I've got a couple of these characters. As you can see, Arwen just dinged 5-star, Elladan's about to ding 5-star, Lomian's almost 6-star, so we're kind of getting there. I'm slowly building up their power to getting him to tier 7. But if you're looking at Lord Elrond, this guy's just nuts. His passive is so good. Not only is it good just for Rivendell, but it's also just good as a flex healer on any light squad team because he offers the 5% health. He offers the +1 boon. Again, maxing this out is so important, but so isn't his big old wave, right? The Wrath of Rivendell. This one right here, again, turn meter manipulation, slow, stamina. I mean, this thing is an insane ability. You get this to 6-star, or to 6 level 6 upgrade, and you get his passive to 6. This guy's great. He's just hands down the best character in the game. Obviously counterattack, like a lot, you almost pretty much want to get all of his abilities to 6-star, but you definitely want his passive, and you definitely want his wave. Those two are what like really makes this character absolutely nuts. And again, with all these boons being kind of applied to his team, and then with Elladan's ability that we kind of discussed with the ancient skill, they just work so well together that make the team as a whole a combo great, but like that tank and healer combo, hands down the best in the game. So I figured I'd share a video that just went through like the top 10 plug and play that I think are absolute characters that you should go after, all of which are farmable characters besides currently in the game for Rumil. So you're able to go after any of these guys. Well, I take that back. Lord Elrond, of course, is going to be the legendary event. So unfortunately, that's one of the ones where, if you haven't invested into the Rivendell squad or elves, or if you haven't really started playing the game, you're just getting into it, something to kind of think about for, future you, as the Lord Elrond event probably comes back again, maybe like spring of 24. But he is, when you have that 5, 6, or 7-star level amount of elves, he's free, right? Like you just have to do the event and then you get him at 5, 6, or 7-star. So not much of an investment besides investing into the elves, which is probably the best faction in this entire game. So it's not really anything to kind of to roll over and have to do. And so unfortunately for me, when I started playing the game, my team wasn't strong enough quite yet to be able to farm the best ones, i.e. Elladan and Arwen. So unfortunately, until I was able to get to their nodes, because they are a little bit more difficult to get to, not sure if now they're easier with the glyphs or not. I did this before the glyphs, but these nodes weren't that easy to get to for me. So when I first did this, I had to get Elrond, with Leliel. So Leliel is starting to pop up a little bit in raids as like a flex tank. That's actually not a bad character, which is exciting to see because I did invest her to 5-star. But I will say, if you can do it, you definitely want your core to be kind of just like Rivendell plus Naremiri. Obviously Legolas is pretty easy too, but I don't want to make this video any longer. I did want to share though, I think these are like some really good plug and play characters. There's obviously great synergies across other teams in the game, like Feely and Keely, or like just, like Ugluk and Mauer and just other like little like 1-2 combos that are completely built sort of like the Elrond and Elladan sort of concept. But those characters, Isengard doesn't really like have a strong play in the raids. Road to Rivendell, they're good, but again, they're not great and they're free to play. So if it's someone you like want to kind of have on the back burner, it's not that big of a deal either. But yeah, anyways, I appreciate you guys turning into the video. I hope you found some of this info useful. And if you like this kind of content, let me know. I'd be happy to make more guides around good synergy comps, or best raid comps by chapter, or anything along those lines. Like, do you want me to like break down the Rivendell squads and specifically like which abilities to invest into? Like whatever you guys think is helpful for you to kind of really understand the game a little bit deeper, I'd be glad to kind of give some insights from my perspective. But again, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.